Hey friends, how are we doing today? I am Carr, everyone, as I'm sure you know. And while I was at work earlier today, I looked up and saw that the world absolutely lost its fucking mind while I wasn't looking. Emily, Ludlow Vert, welcome to the party. How's it going? Untacito, how you doing? Birchalac, welcome to the party. Tell your friends. Share it. Pass it around. The revolution is now. Welcome to the stream. So, a lot of other channels like to cover news and riff on the headlines and such, and that's not normally something that I do a whole lot of, but I just gotta say, it has been a whirlwind of a news day. It has just been nonstop, and it's actually been some pretty exciting news for those of us of the leftist persuasion, those of us who lean progressive, those of us who want to move forward. So once I at least have one person confirm that I sound okay and that the music is audible but not too loud, we're going to get into it. We'll cover some news, and then think later we'll just we'll vibe on the news a bit, and I'll play some ESO and try not to suck too hard. Does that sound like a plan? I sound fine. All right. Okay, audio. Add a little to the music, otherwise loud and clear. Just a smidge. I don't want it to get blown out, but I know this mic is pretty strong, so we're good there. All right, so let's get started with the fun stuff, yeah? Let's get started with the fun stuff. So, Senate Democrats, and I remind you, Democrats have a lot more power in the Senate now than they used to. But the Senate Democrats have, in fact, reintroduced the DC statehood bill. This, my friends, is a reason to celebrate in and of itself. DC statehood is a long-running and contentious issue out there in the world right now. This place is full of ads. This is the Hill. Are you all broke over at the Hill? Jesus Christ, why are you selling so much ad space? Oh, God, print media is dying the long, slow death. So, first discussion subject. Let's talk about DC statehood, what I mean when I'm talking about that, and the significance of it. Who here knows what I'm talking about when I talk about the importance of DC statehood? You should all know what I'm talking about. DC independence movement. Yep. Control of the Senate. What's up? What up? Shut up. I have considered. We're going to talk, by the way, Birchalac, we are going to talk about GameStop. I'm sorry. We will talk about GameStop later. I saved that for last, since that's less a victory and more a wake-up call. But yeah, we need to get PR on that bill as well. So, let's talk about DC statehood, shall we? So, a group of Senate Democrats led by Tom Carper, Democrat from Delaware, reintroduced legislation to give Washington, D.C. statehood on Wednesday. This is the first major effort to push towards statehood since the Capitol riot earlier this month. And the Capitol riot sends echoes of the importance of D.C. statehood. So for those who don't know, or maybe my non-American viewers, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States of America. It is the seat of the Capitol in Washington, D.C., in addition to several national monuments, as well as a number of historic museums and locations, is the home of the White House, which is the house, the mansion, the presidential mansion. That's the head of the executive branch. He lives there. Okay? That's now where good old corn pop Joe Biden lives. In addition to that, it's also where the Capitol is, the place where that insurrection took place on the 6th of this month. That is where our legislature meets in session to draft the bills that become law, right? The representatives that are elected meet in Washington, D.C. In addition to that, the Pentagon is in D.C. The Pentagon is basically the headquarters for the Department of Defense and the main headquarters for all of the United States Armed Forces. Basically, the primary leadership of the United States Armed Forces are based through the Pentagon. So that's already three major elements of our country based in Washington, D.C., our capital. And I forgot about the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is in D.C. as well. So right now, Washington, D.C. is kind of a funny geographic distinction. Basically, as it stands right now, Washington, D.C. is more or less just an odd carved out district that sort of sits at the intersection of a number of states. I have it pulled up here right now. It stands for District of Columbia, right? Thank you, Elizabeth Padilla. Appreciate it. So, District of Columbia, which I'm not going to get into the historical reasons why it's named District of Columbia. But if you look here, when I zoom in on Google Maps, the District of Columbia, which I remind you is currently not a state, has no statehood, is bordered with Maryland. Okay? So over here is Maryland, right? Then it's basically surrounded by Maryland and a couple other states. It's basically part of a megalopolis, if you will. There's a few states with a lot of almost contiguous cities that are all butt end to Washington, D.C. Revolution is now. I'm going to get to Puerto Rico as well. Don't you worry about a thing. But yes, in short, I would love to see Puerto Rico in the bill as well. District of Columbia also butts up against the state of Virginia. So this is the Potomac River. There's a famous painting of American propaganda of Washington crossing the frozen Potomac River on a raft during the Revolutionary War. This is that river. This is where the Capitol was. So you see here, just looking at some of the big landmarks in D.C., the United States Capitol is right over here. This here is what's called the National Mall. Whenever you see the big rallies at the Capitol and they show that big, long park with the lake, what's up, Supreme Kai? That's happening on the National Mall. At the steps of the Lincoln Memorial down here on the west end. Yeah, at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial down here on the west end of the Capitol Malls, where MLK gave his famous did his famous March on the Capitol and gave his famous Capitol Hill speech. You know, you're right, Ludlow. It might have been the Delaware in the famous painting. I am wrong. But the Lincoln Memorial is the steps of where MLK gave that speech and gave his famous "I have a dream" passage. Right. It was actually Mahalia Jackson, gospel singer, who shouted out to him because she was seated behind him. Says, "Tell them about the dream, Martin," because he had told her about a dream that he had had, and he worked it into his speech. Skilled orator, one of the best. So the Women's March that absolutely trumped Trump's inaugural rally took place here on the National Mall. A lot of rallies happen here on the National Mall. It's actually a very beautiful park and a great place to organize, demonstrate fun stuff like that. As you can see, the Smithsonian National Museum is there, National Gallery of Art, the Air and Space Museum, which is an excellent museum, is there. The Washington Monument, our big old stone cock that we built in honor of Washington. And then on the other end of the National Mall, you get into the campus of the United States Capitol. This is the big domed building where our legislative branch meets. So the reason I'm going over all this, there's a famous Washington statue. This is one of the most visited tourist destinations in the United States. The tourist numbers for Washington, D.C. rival that of Disney World and Disneyland. Like, that's how big of a deal it is. So the reason this is so important is the people who live here have placed such they're so interconnected with the goings on of our entire nation, which is why it's really, really terrible that Washington, D.C. has not been a state in and of itself. Washington, D.C. has a representative in the House of Representatives who currently is not allowed to vote. It's essentially an honorary position. Now, she's actually a pretty great representative and very fiery and has been ringing the bell for DC statehood for a long time. But nonetheless, they have no congressional representation. They have no active senator, and every state in the union has 2 senators. However, DC has no voting senator. They have no voting representative in Congress. So they have a sort of reagent or acting House representative. Hold on, if I can find her. So we're talking about Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes. She's pretty awesome too. She has been fighting for the people of Washington, D.C. for all of her political career. And one of her biggest fights was statehood. You know, Dan Uko, that's a great question. Why don't they just make D.C. a city part of Virginia? Why don't they just make it a part of Maryland? A lot of that is a quibble that goes back ages, and for many who live there, they believe that that's not really fair to the residents of D.C., which is actually a decent-sized district. Washington, D.C. has a bigger population than Vermont or Rhode Island, and their population is on par with that of Alaska, the largest state in our union. Seriously, Alaska has like no people in it. So, like, if we look here, it's great that you brought that up. So, DC population. Right. So, if we take a look here, you'll see that Washington, D.C. has a population of 692,000. I misspoke on the Rhode Island bit. Rhode Island's a bit more densely populated. Washington, D.C. has a population of 692,000 as of 2019. So that's before the last census, so it's most definitely higher. That's more than Wyoming. And Wyoming's fucking enormous. The capital did used to be located in Pennsylvania. And there was a lot. So it's funny you mentioned that, Birchalac. Those disgruntled people that marched on it were actually unpaid veterans. You see, and Alexander Hamilton had a lot to do with that. What they don't tell you, hey, Ludlow Vert, you live in Wyoming. It's awesome. I mean, 80% of your state is nothing, but it is awesome. I hear it's pretty. So there was a lot of unpaid veterans after the Revolutionary War, and it was a whole thing that I'm not really going to go into all the details, but just know that a lot of these veterans basically took to the streets to do a little bit of praxis and march on the Capitol because they fought a whole war against the British for the fledgling American government. And Alexander Hamilton basically fleeced them. They never got their back pay. Many of these people got hurt. They had friends, family, spouses die in this war. So after that whole thing, I believe I can't remember if it was actually President George Washington himself that moved it to that moved it to this special district. And then there's a whole long history about it being ran via committee. And also, the fact that it's being run via committee means that it doesn't have a state militia. That's the other thing. So, occupied Arapaho, Cheyenne, Sioux, and Shoshone land. Land acknowledgement. Appreciated. So, here we have to talk about the elephant in the room when we talk about Washington, D.C., right? There is an elephant in the room that is often ignored. And that is D.C. is a fairly, we're just going to call it what it is. D.C. is a disproportionately black district, right? So I showed you that it has a population larger than a few states. Then you take into account that you look at the population of Washington, D.C., 47.1%, according to 2017 census data. 47.1% black. Washington, D.C. is one of the most populous black districts in the country. If it was made a state, it would be almost near the top of the most populated, of the highest percentage of black residents in any given state. That's a huge deal. More importantly, as we mentioned earlier, that is a massive amount of a black population without representation in Congress. We can see that this is a failure for everyone to have their opportunity to participate in the representative democracy. They have no representative, and it is a massive black population. One of the highest black populations of any district or specific region in the country. So, and having it, Revolution is Now, is very correct. Having it as an independent state puts more power into the hands of the congressional seat for that black population. If it got rolled into Virginia or Maryland, and Maryland does have cities that are heavily populated by black residents, but they would get diluted into the white voting populace of either Maryland or Virginia. See, and they're smart. They understand, and that goes back to what I said, they understand that that would be a cultural and a best interest conflict if they were to get rolled into another state. They would basically be ceding what's in their best interest as a largely black, lower income population. It's a metropolitan area outside of the Capitol Mall and the campus. Yes, Danuco, DC is gentrifying rapidly and at a very ugly pace. It is, however, home to one of the most prestigious historically black colleges in the country, Howard. Strongly recommend you give it a visit if you're ever in the DC area. And this is a big opportunity to put some voting power back in the hands of black residents. So where does that take us? I mentioned earlier that DC has a congresswoman. A lot of people don't know that. DC has a congresswoman. Her name is Eleanor Holmes Norton. Eleanor Norton is an elected official, and that's the biggest failure right there. She is an elected official. People are overwhelmingly happy and supportive of her as their elected official, and yet she does not get to vote. Every single thing you think about that affects what we're trying to get through Congress, Medicare for all, tuition-free college, student loan forgiveness. Think about a whole population of black residents, which, let me find the breakdown here. Somebody in here has got to be good at math, so I need you to take 600,000 and give me 47% of that. Do that. Somebody do that. 47% of 600,000. That's a group of people who don't have a voice on these issues. That's what we learned last year, or in this past election season, talking about the votes in Georgia, and we learned that Georgia is not a red state. Georgia is a voter-suppressed state. The same is true for Washington, D.C. Yes, Washington, D.C. has a higher population than Vermont and Wyoming. About 282,000. 282,000 people. 282,000 minorities don't have a say in Congress. That's got to end. This is something that's been pushed for a long time, especially since the population of black residents has increased in D.C. So, the name of the bill is H.R. 51 that was introduced in a Democratic-controlled Senate. Woo! This is actually a fight that could be won. This is a fight that could be won. And as I said before, Eleanor Norton is just awesome. Like, what is happy with your official and where can I get one? Wouldn't DC just vote in neoliberal Democrats? Here's what I would say. To the extent that other largely progressive congresspersons are neoliberal, I mean, they're already all going to be a degree neoliberal, but I feel like that's not putting enough faith, Dan Uko, in the voting populace there to vote in their own interests. I mean, we saw, for instance, in Georgia, a massive push to get the largely black population involved in this latest Senate runoff, which would ultimately go to flip the Senate. And I would not necessarily call the two Democratic senators that won neoliberal Democrats. They definitely do lean progressive. Listen, I get it. I'm an anarchist, right? I want to abolish the state. I want to abolish the Supreme Court and the executive branch and get rid of representative democracy and go straight to direct democracy, right? But I also am a realist on what I can accomplish in my lifetime. DC is extremely politically engaged. Bertulak is correct. DC, because of their seat at the capital of the country, they are oftentimes at the forefront of a lot of these social changes, believe it or not. And there's a lot of stuff that plays into what's going on. The fact that DC is ran by a federal committee. Do you want to know what that federal committee runs? Try the Capitol Police. The Capitol Police are run by a federal committee. All right. The fact that you have major federal law enforcement agencies and clandestine agencies like the CIA and the NSA and the FBI working there in their city. These are things that if people had some representation, they could have a voice against this sort of police state that's sitting in their backyard. So, as I said, Eleanor Norton is pretty awesome. There was a funny video of her, or not funny, there was a really awesome video of her Delegate Holmes Norton on the DC Voting Rights Act. They've been fighting. This Voting Rights Act has been getting fought for years. They've tried to put through voting rights acts so that the representative for the District of Columbia could actually vote on House issues. And honestly, they've been shouted down a lot. That's just the honest truth. It's not good. And again, we talk about the difference between de facto and de jure. This isn't de jure, but this is some serious de facto disenfranchisement of a major chunk of black population on the eastern seaboard. It is almost laser focused on disenfranchising a number of black voters, and that's pretty terrible. I mean, if you ask me. So we got to ask ourselves, what can we do to push this? You know, you can call your congressperson, that does work. Google the congressional switchboard, call your senator, and tell them to vote, regardless of their colors. Call your senator and tell them to vote in the affirmative for H.R. 91, or H.R. 51, excuse me. Let's see what we got here.
5 minutes.
Yes, 5 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I thank the gentleman for his strong advocacy for the rights of all Americans. I must begin by saying when you hear people come to the floor and invoke the word fairness in a debate where they oppose the basic right to vote, they drain that word of all of its meaning. Mr. Speaker, I would like to speak to the rule proper. I'd like to offer some thanks during this rule period. And I would like to say a word about Utah, our very strong partner about whom we hear little because they are so far away. The other side, after the last vote on this bill, clucked that they had actually stopped the people in the nation's capital from getting a vote. Imagine how that was received all around the world. Now they come to the floor.
It is not lost on me that this is on Nancy Pelosi's YouTube channel.
To object to the procedure. Mind you, the substance is really what they are after. If, in fact, the District of Columbia was a largely Republican city, these members would be on the floor arguing for voting rights for the District of Columbia, just as the radical Republican abolitionists gave us the vote, which was then taken from us and gave us home rule. I will not yield, sir.
Will not yield.
The District of Columbia has spent 206 years yielding to people who would deny them the vote. I yield you no ground. Not during my time. You have had your say, and your say has been that you think that the people who live in your capital are not entitled to a vote in their house. Shame on you.
Yeah, as I said, absolute queen. How many of you lived in Utah? What is going on here? I hear the Mormons keep a very clean state. I'm told it's just in general very clean, not a lot of litter, just well put together, trimmed trees. I only ever been to an airport in Utah for a layover in Salt Lake. It was cold, but I like the winter. Right, that energy? Sit there and tell the speaker to shut the fuck up? Hey, listen, Berchelak, you need to keep calling Ted Cruz. I don't know a slimier human than Ted Cruz, but the idea that Ted Cruz's secretary is just getting bombarded by people calling him a cuck just helps me sleep at night. So keep calling Ted Cruz. A lot of swastikas. Oh, uh-oh. Cedar City. All right. So let's call it what it is. Up until this point, we've been talking about hundreds of years of a majority black district, basically a massive city state, but not really a state, a majority black district that has not had congressional representation. And the Republicans have blocked it. Conservatives have been blocking it for years and years and years. It is basically, at this point, targeted disenfranchisement, and there's no reason why we don't put an end to it. Call your congresspeople. So that covers the D.C. statehood. Like I said, if you're going to call your congressperson, you want to tell them to fight for D.C. statehood. If they want your vote, they will support H.R. 51. The fight for D.C. statehood. There's a lot of issues on H.R. 51 that would help the people of Washington, D.C. And it goes over a little bit of history here. They've had their vote ignored. In 2016, 85% of DC residents, blowing any vote participation of any election in the United States out of the water, 85% voted in favor of becoming the 51st state. This month of this year, with a new Democratic House majority and a new Democratic Senate, Congressperson Norton introduced the Washington, D.C. Admission Act, H.R. 51, which would admit the district as the 51st state, granting 700,000 taxpaying residents full voting rights and the right to self-government. Right? So that's the other thing. They don't have a mayor. Great Parrot, I don't think the inauguration, it was, to my knowledge, it was live, Great Parrot. Although a lot of people were joking about Ashanti actually doing the singing. So that was a joke, but I don't know. I don't think it was pre-recorded, Great Parrot. But listen, they don't have a mayor. Washington, D.C. doesn't have a mayor. Normally, a mayor is the one who, or a mayor or a city council is the one, for instance, who communicates with the local police department. A city council is the one that drafts city budgets. All of this is handled by a federal committee. The people of D.C. deserve the same rights that every other state in this country has. If it is in fact a democratic republic, we are treating a sizable chunk of land undemocratically. So here's the thing. There are a lot of people who are concerned that maybe the capital still should be an independent zone. That's taken into consideration. The majority of present-day District of Columbia, with an exception of basically the areas of federal government buildings and legislature, would still be designated as the nation's capital. So there would be a remaining territory. That's the thing. There would be a federal-owned territory still designated as the nation's capital, but we would still be able to grant statehood. We can literally have our cake and eat it too. DC Autonomous Zone. Fucking Occupy. DC Autonomous Zone. Decause? Would it be an occupied protest? Decop? Oh, no, nope, not decop. So, this has a record number of House co-sponsors, 223. That's more than, oh, goodness, that's massive. And the Senate's DC statehood bill has the most co-sponsors ever at 34 out of 99 co-sponsors, if you don't count the one who introduced it. And the House passed H.R. 1 for the People Act, which was basically the act to make a committee. And it had extensive findings in support of D.C. statehood. Nancy Pelosi supports D.C. statehood. House Majority Leader, now the Democratic House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer also supports it. Even all these cringe-ass libs are supporting this. 100 national advocacy groups. This passed last year. History is in the making. We are undoing almost 220 years of disenfranchisement of one of the most populous black districts in this country. So, something to think about. That is something that got me very excited today. And that wasn't even the first bit of news that I heard. So, who wants to take a guess at what comes next? What else happened today? Anybody? Yeah, we can deport. No, we got to be careful with talk like that. what up, shut up, because Alabama also has a pretty sizable black population that is largely gerrymandered and voter suppressed. We want to empower those southern states and bring more power back to the black voters in those states. So basically, I'm not getting too into the weeds of the whole bill becoming a law, but they need a majority vote in the Senate. And if they get a big enough majority vote, they can overcome a filibuster in the Senate. Right? They can, but I doubt that happening. We're just barely skin of our teeth holding a majority in the Senate, so it's going to be fought. Nonetheless, a majority of vote can pull this through in the Senate and send it to Biden's desk. And I'm pretty confident that Biden will probably be in favor of this, as it tends to be in line with what his party wants, the party that got him elected. So, folks, we might be making some progress. All right, so I heard somebody say something. Hey, Dan Uco got it right. We're going to talk about Enrique Tarrio. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me edit this headline. Well, here's the thing. Revolution is now. Yeah, there will be some. There'll be some blue dogs, and there'll be some Democrats who may not be on board. You know, we have some people that we want to get out of there, right? Hey, what's up, Will the Warlord? There are some Republicans, to my knowledge, that are on board. And keep in mind, though, despite the fact that there will always be holdout Democrats, they have the highest level of co-sponsors on any bill in the Senate right now. They have 34 co-sponsors. If you count the senator who introduced it, that's 35 who've basically signed their name to wanting this bill to pass. So out of 100, that leaves us with 65 senators who need to be swayed. We have to assume that the majority of those Democratic senators left in that 65 will vote in favor. If we can get Biden to signal support for the bill, then that will push the party overall in support of the bill. So, snitches get stitches. Let's talk about a douchebag, yeah? Listen, this one isn't so much, I guess you could say, a win, as it is fucking hilarious. And also, it's kind of a win because it means more crackdown on our enemies. I had said on Twitter when the conversation came up, I don't believe necessarily that the way to go is helping the FBI or helping DHS, and fuck ICE. Just fuck ICE. ICE can kiss my whole asshole. But we can laugh and celebrate when our enemies get the shaft. And we most certainly are going to. You know, there have got to be some proud boys shaking in their boots right now over this expose. And it is glorious. You have no idea how glorious it is. It really is. So, dang it, I didn't do the thing. Hold on. I didn't do the thing. Hold on. Enrique Tarrio. Hold on. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, there we were. Jojo Siwa. I really don't know where that would land in my level of interest, brand, wheelhouse, or whatever. I know that JoJo came out. I would be more interested in talking about Sterling coming out as non-binary finery, if you will. That would be a more fun discussion, just because I'm not all that into JoJo Siwa. I know who they are. My kid used to watch them. So, Enrique Tarrio, leader of the Proud Boys, extremist group, has a past as an informer for the feds, as well as local law enforcement. This is a transcript. He was arrested in 2012, and it was after that arrest that he started working. No, Anarcha boy. We'll get there. Hold it back. Anarcha boy. We'll get there. Hold it back. We're talking about the snitch supreme. Hey, what's up, Maraku? So, after he was arrested in 2012, it looks like he decided to start cutting deals by snitching on people. Some of it is big stuff like human trafficking, gun running and stuff. Some of it's, I believe, 3 different marijuana grow houses were ratted out by Enrique Tarrio. Enrique Tarrio is a rat. He is a rat bastard, and his chickens are coming home to roost. So here's the thing: this is dangerous, and I'm not going to lose sleep on it. It's dangerous for him. It's not dangerous for me, but we already know that the Proud Boys have a lot of ties to white supremacist organizations. Do you want to know who the biggest and most dangerous prison gang is? The Aryan Brotherhood. I did a video about it. The Aryan Brotherhood is one of the most dangerous prison gangs out there. Enrique Tarrio is currently in custody. He was arrested 2 days before the insurrection at the Capitol. Matter of fact, at the time that it happened, a lot of us thought it was really strange that they nabbed him up preemptively. But now it makes sense. Listen, folks, if I can code switch on you for a second. Word on the street is, if you are with some people who live outside the law, right? If you're with people who live outside the law, you know somebody catches a charge and gets caught up with the cops, right? Somebody gets the boys called on them. And you just see them show back up on the scene without any issues, without no probation, without no parole. They don't have cops hassling them anymore. Everyone will say the same thing. That motherfucker is a snitch. Who did you snitch? Who did you rat out? You talked, didn't you? This motherfucker talked. He broke omerta. Listen, I don't envy him doing time in a federal penitentiary. I don't want anybody to suffer prison violence by gangs, especially people like the Aryan Brotherhood. But listen, we have to take into account the history of his organization. Who remembers last year, where the Fraternal Order of the Alt Knights, the hyper-violent, hyper-fascist faction within the Proud Boys, tried to basically oust him and coup the Proud Boys because they weren't white enough. He is not white. Enrique Tarrio is not white. He's Puerto Rican. And yeah, he's going to be in a lot of solitary. And so Enrique Tarrio is Puerto Rican. And while he would go on Joe Rogan and go on Tim Pool and say, we're not racist. Why are you calling me white supremacist? I'm Puerto Rican. Even in his own movement, it's proving the truth we've known all along about fascist white supremacist movements. They're going to eat themselves. They're going to find a target. And once they've taken out all the targets outside of their realm, they're going to look inward and start purifying that too. Because theirs is a death cult. They wanted to oust it from him because they didn't want to have women or non-white men in their organization. And the Alt Knights are the ones. It was nearly the coup was done by Based Stick Man, who was basically a street brawler from Charlottesville, which is where he got his name. And he created a hyper-violent wing of the Proud Boys and then later tried to oust Enrique Tarrio as the leader of the overall organization. This is all after Gavin McGinnis basically relinquished all ties to the organization. He did the disavow to protect his media career. So this far-right group is under a lot of scrutiny by law enforcement, and yet they were being led by someone who is an active collaborator with criminal investigators. So he was arrested in early January, 2 days before the big standoff at Capitol Hill, before the big insurrection. He had 2 high-capacity rifle magazines, and he had burned a Black Lives Matter banner during a demonstration for supporters of former President Donald Trump, and he was ordered to leave the city. At least 5 Proud Boys members at time of writing this article have been charged in connection with the riot. Previously, the FBI stated that his earlier arrest was an attempt to preempt the events of January 6th, but here's the question. Do you believe that? A lot of people are saying now that this was them pulling their informant out of the fray. What do you think? You know, we can sit in theory craft all day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Puerto Rican. So there was they even heard the transcript on his past arrests and his connections to law enforcement. Apparently, he relabeled and sold stolen diabetes test kits. What the fuck kind of scumbag crime is that? What in the hell? I mean, I almost want to say based. Those test kits are expensive. Maybe he was selling them to the masses. But knowing this piece of shit, he was probably turning around and marking them up. So, he led 13 people got hemmed up on federal charges, prosecuted on federal charges, and he shut down a gambling ring. Basically, he sang like a bird. Excuse me. So, that is a weird hustle. How do you make money doing that? What's the over-under on that? Tario also did an undercover for human trafficking sting. He basically paid $11,000 to some coyotes, supposedly claiming to have some family members brought in from another country. Basically, he wore a wire. And also marijuana, cocaine, and MDMA or ecstasy production. That was down in Miami, Florida. He was all over the place. It is said that before rallies in various cities, he would often let police departments know of the Proud Boy plans if they were planning on a demonstration. But he said after December, the police had cracked down on the group, so he stopped notifying them. So this guy keeps getting plea deals. All right. Now I'm going to check because everybody is saying he's Cuban, so I feel like I misspoke. Okay, here we go. We're going to check now. Because now... I love how his Wikipedia, by the way, lists him as businessman. His only business has been as a fucking fraudster, as far as I can tell. Ah, okay. You all were right. I was wrong. You all were right. I take it back. Everybody, you guys were right. Listen, you all were right. He is Afro-Cuban. Identifies as Afro-Cuban. Stay out of my state. We have enough Nazis. Yeah, he lives in Florida. Miami, Florida. He is Afro-Cuban. Well, I don't like to demean the Cuban people like that. They do. There is a slight lean towards conservative values in the Cuban community, but it's complicated. He has been married and divorced. So apparently, he also is the director of the Florida state program Latinos for Trump. Yeah. He was running interference for their claims of racism, basically. It was appointing him a known fraudster, an informant, and somebody who's very good at working the legal system, and he's very charismatic and presents things well when he's interviewed. That was a PR move on the part of the Proud Boys. I don't know if Alec Guinness bestowed him the leadership or if he kind of just took it. There are a lot of anti-communists in the Cuban community, Dan Uko. Especially if you're talking about people who were either pre-revolution or raised by individuals who were pre-revolution and immigrated. I guess he has a Miami T-shirt business known as the 1776 shop. Okay, we're gonna take a brief tour to cringe at this guy's terrible fucking shirts. Jesus Christ, I have to look. It's stirring the shit. We have to look. We have to look at his terrible T-shirt shop. This is LARPing right here. This is some cringe LARPing right here. Revolution starts here. 1776. He named his T-shirt shop 1776, and he has the most mayo white fucking models on his site. He's not even white. Jesus Christ. Let's look at their shirts. Look at this. Oh my God. This is like a fucking Walmart commercial jerked off onto a website. This is terrible. Let's see. Quick view. Bad men doing good things. And that is the Proud Boys laurel wreath there, by the way. Fuck Antifa. We the people. Yep. Signal boosting. Dangerous times. And there's another laurel wreath shirt there. Go woke, go broke. I'm just here to bang. And what looks to be an M4 with an American flag plastered over it. Basically a T-shirt with a violation of the federal flag code on it. Good to know. Listen, men, ladies, in-pals, if you ever see somebody wearing this garbage-ass silkscreen shirt that says, I'm just here to bang, this person has never fucked. This is a shirt that's guaranteed to never get you laid. That you just know, if you see that shirt, you are either talking to a virgin or somebody who had their testicles blown off by a household grenade accident. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, listen. Oh, wait. This one's even better. What is it with fucking gun nuts and all these dick analogies? Just the tip, I promise. Stop. You don't see leftist gun enthusiasts doing this shit. It's weird. It's fucking weird. ESO comes later, Nathan King, after we go over the headlines. We took a detour here to fucking riff on Enrique Tarrio's garbage-ass T-shirt store. These are all sold out. Half of these are sold out. Sold by the Noble Beard. Say no to China Joe and the Ho. Very classy. Yeah. Listen, folks. If you are looking to get down, it's cold right now, right? So people will have their jackets on. You get back to the house, and they have a shirt on with a bullet that says just the tip. Run away from that person. Whatever they want to do to you will not be consensual. The War Boys, I don't know. I guess these are the UK fascist street brawlers. Jesus Christ. Charity bands. Who wants to guess what kind of charities they are supporting? 1776. Oh, it's not These bands don't support charity. Oh, wait. Okay. Breast cancer. Yeah, gotta have your pink. Gotta have your pink breast cancer. Yeah, Possessed Merc. Oh my God, you should sell your art to these people to actually draw a good shirt. Make some money off of these white motherfuckers, all right? Jesus Christ, these shirts are terrible. Sold by Latinos for Trump. 1776. So, Proud Boys support. What is this? What charity is this band supporting? Black and Yellow. What is that supporting? Support band. What? That's not a charity. Supporting that's not a charity. Are the Proud Boys a Chapter 501c3? I refuse to believe that they got approved for nonprofit status. Oh, look, a prostate cancer wristband that said, I had a finger up my butt. Okay, there's some repressed shit going on with this guy's garbage. You're right, Merc. I didn't even comment about the fact that their designs are absolutely trash. There's your thin blue line bands. Like, who designed these? Who? I feel like I made these in Photoshop in 7th grade and sent them to Teespring with my mom's credit card. What in the hell? Listen, y'all got me off track, all right? Y'all got me off track. I blame y'all for that we had to look at all of that. 501c4. Yeah, you're right. They might be a 501c4. That means that they have, if they're a 501c4, they have to pay some tax, though. Or they have contribution limits, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think the Proud Boys have PAC status yet. What's up, Molly? So, yeah, Enrique Tarrio is a snitch. As we continue reading, I would say keep an eye out on the news and see how many Proud Boys you see get swept up in charges. You know he talked. After shit popped off and 5 people were killed at the Capitol and 2 cops took their own fucking lives. You know he snitched. Yeah, Birchalac, I don't know how you always manage to have so much flair, but you go for it, all right? Oh, Birchalac demanded knife trick. Oh, there it is. You know what it is? This thing's rusty. I gotta oil it. Ah! Boom. Knife trick. So, yeah, derelict delink. It might have the highest percentage of black residents, the highest percentage of black population in the country if they get statehood. Yeah, Christian anarchists. I'm surprised they didn't kill him. They were gonna oust his ass. I told you the based stickman was trying to out him last year. The alt-knights were trying to take over the whole organization and make it blatantly and openly a white Western chauvinist organization. I'm surprised they didn't. Go get your knife. Go get your knife. Remake the 6ix9ine memes. Yeah. You know, someone get to work on that. There's got to be someone in here that... Yes, Sakamura. I studied the blade. All right. So... yeah, ruining the good name of crime. It's a shame. So... I'm sorry. Those shirts were just so bad. There's like 22 pages of t-shirts. Like, oh, Jesus. They're bad. I still have them pulled up here. And they're just... First of all, for an organization that prides itself on patriotism, there is a disturbing number of shirts that violate the U.S. flag code. Fun fact, you're not actually supposed to graft the flag onto clothing. So when I see something like this right here, this shit, for patriotic people, this shit should be a gang sign. This shit should be a fucking corruption of the United States flag. Hey, Emily, Deftones rules. Yeah, this shit right here, no patriot, no self-proclaimed patriot should tolerate this shit. This is violent imagery. Oh, Merc, what do you think of some of this art? Look at this shit. Proud Brains, banned on Twitter. They're bragging about being too shitty to be on Twitter. Shipped version is way better. What is this? Proud Boys, drinkers of beer. Ah, that's their dumbass slogan. Okay, that's enough of that. I could riff on that shit all night. So, it's funny you mentioned that, Merc. I appreciate that you have dignity. I also say, though, listen, get your bag wherever you can. Yeah, hey, Biomonkey, it is absolutely trashy merch. So, this was a funny story that I'd seen leading up to the rallies. Leading up to the rallies of people, something that the news noticed basically at the rallies outside the, they said there was a guy supposedly selling Trump hoodies outside of a Trump rally, identified himself as Nah. Identified himself as, now some of these are miscaptioned. Nah and stop asking me questions before you get your ass kicked is how they identified themselves. I guess there's some issues with the captions. So, anyway, what was I talking about? Y'all taking me off focus here. I had to focus. Pay attention. Thoughts on Jimmy Dore interviewing the Boogie Boy? I just don't care about Jimmy. Why are we fucking talking about Jimmy Dore? You know what? Fine. I wanted to talk about the news today, do my surfs thing, do my Vosh thing, sit and riff on the news, and that's fine. I will sit and riff on the news. I don't normally do that. I like to lecture normally. I don't know what their gender is, Nathan King. I have no idea. So, Jimmy Dore is... Listen, I made a post on Twitter about this that kind of captured my views. I'm not saying that at some point we can't try and rebuild those bridges between those people who chose to go down a path of far-right extremism and accelerating to violent conflict. But let's be clear, regardless of what they say cosmetically, the Boogaloo Boys have made it very clear that they want to accelerate to the point of a civil war. Here's the problem with that. Anyone who cares about minorities should absolutely not be pushing for a civil armed conflict. You really shouldn't. And so I'm going to change the stream discussion to that, and I'm just going to freeform it because this is an easy topic to explain. There we go. Let's see here. Make this a little smaller. Listen, I feel there's no better way for me to say this. Civil war is bad for minorities, right? If you are actively pushing for and jonesing for a hot war, a civil war in the United States between, I don't know, it doesn't matter, the people and the government, between leftist actors and far-right white supremacist actors, that's a terrible fucking idea. What you are pushing for, regardless of your intentions, is wholesale slaughter of a lot of minorities, wholesale slaughter of POC, wholesale slaughter of black residents, wholesale slaughter of disabled, wholesale slaughter of LGBTQ people. All of them. Wholesale slaughter of neurodivergent people. It's fucking dangerous. You're right, a Christian anarchist. Real anarchism isn't about just mindlessly pushing towards armed conflict, and we shouldn't be spending energy trying to fight for solidarity with the people who are doing that. We either need to silence those people or drown them out. That's not what will help us. Because listen, as leftists, we might think, okay, we're going to take up arms and we're going to seize the means of production. We're going to take up arms and we're going to forcefully take up housing to feed and house the homeless. People like the fucking alt-knights and the Proud Boys and the 3%ers and Patriot Prayer and Identity Europa, they're not trying to push any real populist goal. The only goal they want is to wholesale slaughter minorities. And we're talking about people here who have a large number of veterans in their ranks, people with military training, people with firearms trainings, and people who own a lot of firearms. They have caches of firearms. They have collections of firearms amongst them. And they're actively pushing for the Civil War because they want to indiscriminately and wholesale slaughter minorities. That's why they're pushing for civil war, and that's what they're going to do. We're better than that. That's not what our goal is. Our goal isn't even necessarily to push for civil war to slaughter right-wingers. That's not what we're here to do. That's not what the basis of our ideology is. But that's exactly what they're going to do. They're waiting for society to drop the pretense once they know that they can march down the sidewalks and start gunning down their black neighbor, and start gunning down their Jewish neighbor, start gunning down their gay neighbor. That's what they're going to do. Do you think they're going to declare war against armed leftist strongholds? No. They're going to be a violent insurgency, just like we would have to be. Nobody, and Bo the Fifth Column talked about this, nobody wants to be a fucking insurgency. It requires good men to do dark deeds to be an insurgent. It's not good. Insurgency requires asymmetrical warfare. We're not marching out into a field to have a gunfight with them. We would have to do a lot of shady shit as well to win that kind of fight, and I don't want people to have to go through that. All right? I should trigger warning what I'm talking about here, by the way. But I'm talking about what it takes to win actual armed conflict, right? So you'd have to protect your communities, but you have to go more than that, because you know that there might be times where their forces that they've amassed have more manpower and more guns. Maybe they have more armor. Maybe they have air support. So then you're thinking to yourself, as a leftist insurgent, as a leftist freedom fighter, well, now I got to be preemptive. I have to take out that garrison. We can't fight them head up. They're loaded full of military vets. There's probably 200 military vets in that stronghold, all with rifles. They have up-armored vehicles. We can't fight them heads up. We can gas them all with carbon monoxide poisoning. Do you see where you go at that point? Now you're an insurgent. Now you're storming people and shooting them in their beds while they're sleeping. Okay? Now you're kidnapping members of their leadership, members of their families. Now you're using enhanced interrogation against people. You see, nobody wants to be an insurgent. It's not fun, and it's not noble. Nobody comes out clean on the other side of an insurgency. So pushing for a civil war, that's exactly what you're going to get. So, to get off of that heavy subject, just know, civil war, not good. And so solidarity with people who support a civil war is not solidarity with minorities, and I don't give a fuck what they have to say about supporting Black Lives Matter. If they supported Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't be agitating for a hot war against law enforcement or against far-right demonstrators. That's a dumb fucking idea, and if that's the kind of people that Jimmy Dore thinks we should be reaching out to, then he's a dumb fucking person. I shouldn't be saying dumb. I know it's ableist. I'm old. Work with me. All right, we covered that. All right, so Let me get my next thingy here. Do 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 do. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, I saw your post, Christian Anarchist. Here's the other thing. Leftist organizations, due to safety, due to reaching out to people with different means, material resources, backgrounds, they tend to be a lot more decentralized. Being leftist, we tend to not care for unjust hierarchies, so usually leadership is democratic and also decentralized. That means that you're not necessarily going to be able to operate as easily as something like a national charter or anything like that. Not to mention, they are restrictive. I'm not going to sit here. They're restrictive, but they're inclusive. So you can join the Socialist Rifle Association, but not if you're a cop, right? Does that make sense? Not if you're an active duty police officer. And yeah, leftist nonprofits and orgs will always struggle to get the same level of funding, to get the same level of financial support. And the reason for that, is because I keep telling people this. I say this all the time. The right has billionaires. You know, groups like the NRA, all those organizations, they have corporate sponsors. The NRA, which, yeah, they're about to get bankrupted and taken to task by the state of New York, but the NRA, the reason they're so beholden, not to the people or the gun owners, but to gun manufacturers, because that's who pays them. They're bought and sold by lobbyists, and they themselves are a lobbyist organization. So they have billionaires. They have Fortune 500 gun manufacturing companies, right? Whereas, say, Pink Pistols, Huey Newton Gun Club, Socialist Rifle Association, these are organizations diametrically opposed to the idea of corporations. So they're certainly not going to attract sponsorships or lobbyist dollars from gun manufacturers. I would love to see a collectively owned or a union gun shop start sponsoring and supporting the SRA, but it's going to be few and far between, and it's hard to do because, again, we're under capitalism. So most of these countries are, or most of these companies, are operating with the profit motive. Yeah, and that's the sad truth. When you're living under capitalism, starting an org takes money, time. You have no idea. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. Even something as simple as printing money for pamphlets. I used to do promotions. I used to make flyers for local live music shows and stuff. And I can tell you, there's a decent price just for flyers or web design. There's a decent starting price that you have to come up with to do that. You need heavy organization if you're going to be able to crowdfund something like a leftist gun organization or any kind of powerful leftist org. And while the central committee of the Socialist Rifle Association has donors and they have their membership dues, war chest, even then they pale in comparison to a lot of these right-wing organizations and associations. They don't have the kind of money to just show up into town and spring up a new branch with full heavy funding that's necessary. It's going to be grassroots. So if that's something that you all are interested in starting, that's something you're going to have to do from the ground up yourselves. You're going to have to reach out to your community, find other leftist actors in your area, and really get on GoFundMe, get on Twitter, do charity live streams, whatever it is you got to do, because you're going to have to crowdfund that from the ground up. So You're right. Right-wingers are also walking billboards. Keep in mind, the old Senate Majority Leader, John Boehner, lives in my state. I actually used to live near his neighborhood. That dude entered Congress with like $14,000 to his name. It's okay. Wave that wobbly banner, Birchalack. John Boehner left Congress a millionaire on a $173,000 a year salary somehow. The guy has openly admitted to being a lobbyist before he did that, where he would literally go to the RNC, the Republican National Convention, with briefcases full of envelopes of money, payola, to buy those votes for right-wing projects and things like that, or for corporate deals and projects. So they have that money. Corporations have that money, and corporations are opposed to leftist organizing. So we're not going to see that kind of we're not going to see that kind of backing. Listen. As astroturfed as it would be if fucking the Koch brother rolled up to me and said, "Hey, Carr, we support your anarchist agitprop. We want to slide you some new cameras, and we want to slide you we want to slide you a new camera, and we want to slide you some production money, and we want to sponsor some videos." They're like, you can say whatever you want. I'd be like, fuck yeah. Today's anarchist agitprop brought to you by the Koch brothers Foundation. That doesn't happen, though. That's never going to fucking happen. So it's okay. Wave that wobbly banner. I can't be a wobbly for reasons we don't go into. Yep. Just the one. Yeah, I keep forgetting one died. Like, by the way, what's up, Dallas Adams? I saw you earlier. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the stream. I gotta check in on Twitch from time to time because I don't know if people get auto-modded. All right. Come on. Let's talk about it. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about it. You know what we're going to talk about. It's been going crazy. So, a thing happened in the last 24 hours on the stock market. How to fund your leftist org. How to fund your leftist org. Yes. Put it all on GameStop. You knew it was coming. No, we're not watching JoJo. I don't even watch that show. So, at time of writing of this New York Times article, GameStop shares went up 1,700%. 1,700%. That is staggering in terms of the stock market. So, social media and forums have played a role in this. Yeah. So there's a Reddit where largely people with a fair amount of, I'm going to attempt to explain this. There's a Reddit, people who tend to have some, there's a few people in a Reddit called Wall Street Bets. I'm not going to go too into the weeds on how this works, but we'll talk about it. There's a subreddit called Wall Street Bets. There's a few people in there that basically they basically treat the stock market like gambling, which is what it is. And so they speculate on different bets or on different trades and ways to make and turn quick profits. They have a Discord server. At times they'll have hundreds of people in there talking back and forth. And basically, they saw that over the last year, a number of hedge funds have essentially tried to make short sell bets on some failing companies, some failing publicly traded companies. It's kind of complicated, but basically these companies were playing the long game. Birchalac, you want to explain this? If you can explain it to the lay people, then I'll have you on. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Just give me a second. If does your mic suck? Is your mic good? Birchalac, is your mic good? I trust you. As your patron. Is your mic good? All right, so let's see what we got here. Oop, opened up my game by mistake. Whoops. It's decent. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's just you know what Discord I'm in. Go ahead and hop in voice. We'll explain this. All right. Okay. So let's you come let me make sure you're coming through okay here. I am going to kill the music all the way. Wait, how long's the music been off? Damn it. Okay. Go ahead. What you got?
Can you hear me? Am I clear?
You are. Go ahead. Talk.
Oh, whoa.
Speak.
Sorry, hang on, let me put this down so I'm not getting the delay, because there's the delay from when I'm talking into my other headphones that is just wild.
You had one job. Lay it on us. Chat is waiting.
Okay, so the thing that is happening now is first you have to understand what short selling is. And it's basically the process of borrowing stocks that you assume will decrease in value and then selling them back at the lower value and pocketing the difference. So you buy stocks at you borrow stocks at $5 and then they go down to $2 and you would make $3 on that stock. So that's the basic bet that these hedge funds are trying to do. And when they chose to do this to GameStop, there was a couple of folks who got together online in the Wall Street Bets subreddit who took issue with this and decided that they wanted to get together, make a little money, and also punish this kind of move, which is something you can do because when you're short selling something, it has the potential for infinite losses.
Oh, shit.
Because if the stock price goes up, well, there's no limit to how high it could go, and then you have to buy back these stocks that you've borrowed at the inflated price.
Fucking stonks. Holy shit. So, people have said that this move straight up destroyed Melvin. Is that true?
Yes. At present, I think they are currently in the hole for like $10 to $15 billion.
What was their initial investment in the short sell?
I don't know the exact details of that. I just know that when they first got it up to around $100 a share, they were in the hole for $2.4 billion, and the stock has since gone up to about $250 to almost $350 today. And the other thing is that, and here's the funny thing, they also, when you short a stock, you have to buy back these stocks at some point. Like you can't just sort of indefinitely wait for it to drop back down. There is a point where, they come calling and you have to buy it at whatever it's at. And
Is
that
this
day
a
is
set
Friday.
period? Is this a predetermined period, I should say?
Yes, for the contracts.
Okay, so is this contract that was brokered for this short sale, is this something... Oh, you're echoing me. Uh-oh. Hold on. So this short sale, is this something brokered between the hedge firm and the target company that's short selling its stock? Like, did GME... Well, I guess it's a publicly traded company, so the hedge fund can just do this, but who sets this contract with GME?
It's a contract between the hedge fund, and I believe it could just be any other brokers that has these stocks. Now, GameStop could actually put out some kind of like flag or some kind of notice that says that their stocks can no longer be shorted, but they're not necessarily buying it. They're not borrowing it from the company itself. It's really anyone who holds this stock can loan these out.
Okay, so thank you for explaining that. So basically what happened is that what I'm hearing is they fucked around and did indeed find out.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
They played a stupid game and, would you say, won a stupid prize?
The stupidest of prizes. Because that's the thing, is everyone who gets into finance recognizes that short selling is something that has the potential for infinite loss. Like, that's why it's so dangerous, is because if your bet screws up, there is no limit to how much money you could wind up owing.
So this
and usually
could have just liquidated Melvin in a day.
Oh yeah. I mean, usually what happens is when they do this is they will short a stock, and then they start putting out all these finance reports, and they go on the news and they start talking shit about the company because they're used to using just their clout to bully the company stock into dropping, and then they just collect their earnings.
So is it legal for them to go and, after doing this, attempt to propagandize and bottom out that stock price of the company that they're short selling?
There are ways that make it illegal where they can't.
Because, like, isn't that insider?
No, not really. I mean, as long as they are clear that they have a position on it. I mean, this is like this can be in like a financial report that's like 30 pages deep, and on the back page they've got their boilerplate that says we may or may not have an interest in this stock we're discussing. Don't take this as gospel or whatever. I mean, it's there's a whole bunch of bullshit they can hide behind. But no, I mean, it's fairly frequent that the word gets out that like somebody is shorting a company, and the assumption is, oh, well, these people must have bad feelings about this, and so everyone else just sort of gets out of that stock because like they're like, oh, if they're being shorted, they must be falling apart.
Well, they did in fact fuck around and find out.
Absolutely.
And so that leads me to thanks, Birchalac. I'm going to jump off voice now. Thank you for explaining that
sure.
to the chat and to
No
the
problem.
viewers. So what that leads me to is I'm not going to call it, on its surface, I'm not going to call it a direct victory for the left, but here's what oh, God damn it, I keep lowering that. I am going to call it an opportunity to be an eye-opener for maybe the apolitical and the politically uninvolved out there. Capitalism is not, it's not necessarily a planned economy, and this is what happens when you have this volatile and extremely disconnected market force that's basically a game for the moneyed class, left unregulated. Now they want to turn around and ask for regulations. They want to turn around and ask for bailouts, as it keeps happening over and over and over. This is our opportunity to tell those who may be disaffected, maybe some people who they themselves or their parents had their 401k wiped out in the 2008 crash. because companies stopped issuing pensions, and then instead of re-empowering the workers, companies leaned hard into gig economy, making it even worse for workers. This is to say, look, this is a fucking game. And any time that we want, we can take what little we have and disrupt their whole fucking plan. There's a great saying among boxers, if there's anyone here that's boxed, and I've used it before. Every boxer has a plan when they walk in the ring until they get punched in the face. And it sounds like this short sale contract lasted up until they got punched in the face by a bunch of Redditors. I don't even like Reddit that much. Oh man, that was something else, wasn't it? I never would have thought I would have woke up one day and saw random people on political discords losing their minds over buying a GameStop stock. And GameStop's having fun with it. They're tweeting like crazy. They're marketing tweets. Whoever their brand manager is having a ball. And if you look on the tweets, it's fucking funny. It's great. And yeah, you know, it's given some power. It has given some power back to working class people. It has given a little bit of power back to working class people. It really has. You know, there's some famous Reddit posts going around. I'm not going to look for them, but there's one person that said they literally paid off all of their student loan debt, and they're able to start like cancer treatment for their mom because of what they were able to turn around on these stocks. Obviously, you know, the huge disclaimer, that's why I'm not giving advice on what to put money in. I'm not a financial advisor or a fiduciary. So if you have a financial advisor that is a fiduciary, give them a call. They probably pissed themselves 10 times over the last 24 hours. They might have some fun thoughts on where you can put your money, depending on their alignment to the stock market. So, you're right, though. The stock market is this irrational, disconnected thing from the daily lives of most Americans. Maybe, just maybe, we'll stop conflating the stock market with the economy. We keep conflating the stock market with the economy. Well, we don't, but the politicians do. They believe they can talk about stocks and Wall Street and not actually give a shit about the real economy. And the real economy is quite literally hinged on people having material resources and people having the means to survive. That's the real economy. How much spending power do people have? That is the only real economy. And how much people are able to work. How much can the workers work? So, there was some great articles on this. GameStop went absolutely wild. And it is almost a bit of a shell game. On Wall Street, this is an important thing to note. On Wall Street, individual investors are often derided as dumb money. Whoa, zoomed in too far. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I sure love that print media died, and so that every news site now is just infested with ads. Jesus Christ. So individual investors are often derided as dumb money. Generally speaking, they talk about how individual investors, don't have 4 years of business administration degree under their belt. How they don't work for some massive brokerage firm. But individual investors facing up against analysts and traders and people who do this for a living. Apparently, the Reddit page is, as they say, foul-mouthed as well. It's Reddit, though, so I don't... This is a great ad for collective action. Doesn't have to just be storming the streets, doesn't have to just be voting, doesn't have to be sit-ins. There's a lot of ways we can mobilize the force of the people towards effecting real change. Apparently there was 2 funds that were betting on GameStop shares. Apparently a lot of small retail investors have been pumping the hell out of this stock. It gained $20 billion. So that is an obscene amount of money. Let's be clear. That is an obscene amount of money. Yep, you love to see it. You really do. Yeah, they're not making those big profits. Destabilize the market and hit them where it hurts. Absolutely. Hey, listen. The people on Twitch, you're going to get an ad break here. I'm sorry. Meanwhile, I am getting something else to drink. Let's see here. I got another seltzer here. So, I don't know. What's up with y'all, chat? What are y'all up to? Somebody said, y'all want to talk about the local cops that were cheating on their wife? I don't know that story, Nathan King. I don't actually, I don't know what's going on with that. Well, you know, praxis comes in a lot of different forms. Ultimately, there's all kinds of different praxis. And you can do all kinds of different praxis. It's great. It's really great. Welcome back to the people on Twitch, by the way. All right, well, I ran out of headlines. Just imagine, though, you know, I was at work playing Animal Crossing to numb yourself. So I was at work earlier, and I just see these headlines. And it just gets better and better. The DC statehood one really sent me. Like, I wasn't even remotely prepared for that to happen. So, I need to put a title on this. I think I'll play some ESO, maybe try a couple battlegrounds while we just sit and chill. Take in the news. Bask in the afterglow of a day of some semi-decent headlines in this ever-crushing hell state that we live in that's being cooked to death in a climate-fueled disaster. You know? Sometimes you take the small victories, my friends. Sometimes you take the small victories. Where's my chat? Chat. There you are. Play Pokemon Go. Hey, Dallas Adams. Alright, plug your favorite eatery. I'm off some Russian muscle relaxers. Woo! Give YouTube an ad for a local business or something. I can't control any YouTube ads. What up, shut up, because I'm not monetized. And if you jump in and get lucky, you have funds to start that project you've been thinking about starting. Also, this is a terrible idea. Oh, I'd be up here. Listen, y'all. I'd be up here in 4K if I got some of these returns I'm seeing people getting. Let me go through chat. I missed some things. Plug my favorite eatery. I mean, in the Cincinnati area, we just had a Mexican cuisine in Cincinnati called El Jinete. It's delicious. Great burritos. A lot of queso. Queso is delicious, although I have issues with dairy products. So looking forward to that later while I'm trying to sleep. Does the car name have any notable etymology or interesting backstory? It does, Adam Ant, but I can't share it with you because I'd be doxing myself. Why statehood for DC but no liberation for Puerto Rico? Liberation for Puerto Rico is tied up by two things. Much less history of active advocacy, and B, a lot of racism, and C, a small amount of home-based or domestic contention against statehood. There, believe it or not, there are some public figures in Puerto Rico that are against statehood and are instead pro-independence. And the United States is a non-starter on Puerto Rican independence. You're certainly not seeing that in Biden's government or in our current Congress. I assume you meant straight up independence movement for Puerto Rico. I don't play Pokemon Go. Yeah, it's 100 years too late for Puerto Rico too. Austin voted to permanently house the homeless with money taken from the police budget. There's a headline right there, Muffin Man. Yes, that's what I like to hear. So, Austin is a progressive city stuck in a red state fucking hellhole. I have not spent much time in Texas, incidentally. Last time I was in Texas, I ate a 72-ounce steak for a challenge. Because I do terrible things to my body. Let's see here if we can get this to work right. Hey, look at that. Where's my music at? Okay, there we go. Everybody can still hear me, right? Everyone still loves me? Alright. Good. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Just these settings. Just a teensy bit. Turn that way down. Way down. Let's see here. Everything still sound good, people? I'm counting on you to let me know if things don't sound good. The Big Texan. Yes, Nathan King. I rolled through Amarillo. I've actually driven through there 3 times. I ate at the Big Texan. I have a shirt hanging on my wall upstairs. I was actually the first one to successfully complete the challenge in 2017. Like, it was in early January of 2017 I completed the challenge. I ate it all. 72-ounce steak, a baked potato, 2 fried shrimp, a salad, and a soda. Sound is great. Good. Yeah, you could just trim $27 million, Dallas Adams, off of the police budget and house the homeless. That's more exciting than when Elvis came. Wait, people care more about the eating challenge than Elvis? That's fucking hilarious. That really is funny. Why you no go performance mode? Oh, I did a thing. Ah, crap. What did I do? Hold on. Okay. There we go. Let's turn that down a little bit. There we go. I don't want to blow you all out with the audio here. There we go. And boom. All right. Great. I can pull up my chat. Elvis sucks. Yeah, I don't give a shit about that greaser. Am I a man or a machine? That's a lot of beef. Yeah, it was. I shook for quite a bit after eating it. So, let's see what we got here. Let's queue for a battleground. Let's smoke some fools. Yeah. Oh, you care more about me than Elvis. Thank you, Nathan King. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Elvis. You know, dude that made a lot of money stealing black music and then died on a toilet. You know, there's a school of thought that says that if Elvis had gotten his hands, you get a free one on your birthday? Like, they'll give you a free big Texan steak on your birthday? Like, all 72 ounces? Could I, like, share it with my family? Because that's like a family's worth. Elvis, yes. So that's the thing. Elvis claimed that Priscilla Presley, the relationship he started, by the way, with a 16-year-old fan, was not physical until she was 18. This was a lie. His own family members have come out and said that it was physical pretty much immediately. But also, like, what was her parents thinking? Like, they met with him. God, that story is all kinds of fucked. It's just gross. Tario was definitely an asset for the feds. I don't know if he's getting payola. He might be getting payola, or he might just be an active informant. He might be ducking charges for information. Information is money when you're a fed. Information and the ability for them to look the other way. The FBI has the most leeway with that. You want to know the funny thing? Also, he wanted to be a cop so he could steal drugs or something from black people. You know, that's a possibility, and I wouldn't put it past him. Damn it. Y'all got me not paying attention and shit. So, getting the child bride kickback. Child bride's a very American problem, as it were. So, here's the thing that you're going to learn. If you do research into the attack of 9/11, for instance, you'll learn NSA and CIA had info. They had info on, this is not conspiracy theory, this is from the 9/11 Commission. I have to assure you, this, I am not a truther. I'm just talking about stuff from the 9/11 Commission, right? The fact of the matter is that they had info on these people from watched countries, individuals who had known extremist orientations, right? And we're saying, hey, these people are getting pilot's license. Hey, these people have used fraudulent visas. Hey, these people have overstayed fraudulent visas. And you want to know the one problem? It's going to sound so simple and stupid, but it's the truth. Nobody shared this information with the FBI because nobody, even in the federal government, likes the FBI. Other feds don't like the FBI. The FBI does the most crooked shit domestically. I mean, would you like the FBI? An organization, you're fucking clandestine. You're fucking clandestine. You destabilize other communist nations. You're not here to spy on your own fucking people. But the FBI, they're solely here for the purpose of fucking up Americans' lives. So, yeah, nobody shares info with the FBI. The FBI would have been the organization to take action at the time against these individuals. I'm not that kind of truther, Nathan King. I'm more of a recognizer of incompetence. If you tell me Bush, how should I rephrase this? If you told me Bush was incompetent and knew that a terrorist attack was a possibility, and you say looked the other way, yeah, I'd probably wouldn't be able to argue that with you. Did he actively order an attack on the World Trade Center towers? No, I don't think he did that. I think that's a distinction to make, for whatever it's worth. Yeah, you know Enrique likes the FBI. He's a fucking Fed. He's fucking Fed. Dude, I'm telling y'all, watch the news. Watch the news over the next month or so. You're going to start seeing Proud Boys get snatched up, because you know he's going to snitch to get out of every... He's got federal gun charges right now. He's on the hook for federal gun charges. Lil Wayne and Kodak Black had to get a presidential pardon to drop that shit. Am I talking about Bush? I'm going back and forth with Bush and Enrique Tarrio that we talked about earlier. Hey, Surfs. We were talking earlier about how Enrique Tarrio was found to be a federal informant. Welcome to the stream, Surfs. Everybody, listen, if you happen to be here, I haven't done shout-outs. First, stop what you're doing. Make sure you go give the Surfs TV a follow on Twitch. And then also make sure that you go to YouTube and follow the Surf Times as well. And also Possessed Mercenary. Go give them a follow on Twitch. I'm talking about Enrique Tarrio. Yeah, he was a fucking rat. He's been a rat since 2012, excuse me. And that was hilarious. Like I said, that part of the news wasn't so much a victory for the left, so much as it was like, I'm laughing at the fact that a lot of Proud Boys are going to catch a charge because he's going to sing like a fucking canary. He's going to sing to get out of every charge, and he's been doing it for years now. What's up, Lance? Spiral out. Welcome to the party. I briefly talked about Bush, Surfs, because I was saying that, like, okay, if you want to say that Bush saw some people who were going to do a 9/11 and maybe didn't act on it the way he could have, or maybe looked the other way, then yeah, whatever. I can't argue that. I'm not going to say he ordered a 9/11, though. That's... To me, there's a distinction there, and I'm not singing praises or defense for Bush. It's more along the lines of, I don't think he could get away with that, right? Because they released in their own report that we had information on hijackers. No, there's no swerfs. We are pro-sex work here. We are pro-sex work. Listen, well, keep in mind, you talk about, oh, there was more news. So... do you remember last year? Last year, the year that was about a decade long, last year where every day was an ulcer, there was that there was that kidnapping plot of a Michigan elected official. 2 of those guys have pled guilty in jail. They were talking about it on Twitter. 2 of those guys have cracked in jail. So they've pled guilty. At this point, we can safely assume, facing the level of charges that they currently have, they're going to flip. They're going to flip, and they're going to start singing too. There's no way. Kidnapping plots can oftentimes lead to life in prison. There's no way they're ever going to see the light of day again unless they turn on some people and they start singing really loud. That's just the facts there. So... already 2 of them have flipped, and that's the truth that you need to learn. Everybody flips. I know it's cringe. I know I hate the concept of it, but there was a really interesting episode of that terrible docuseries Scared Straight on Discovery. And they made one interesting point. It's a very cringe show. Don't watch it. Scared Straight shit is bad. Don't do that. Don't threaten people with prison. Don't threaten children with prison. But they raised an interesting point in one episode. Basically, the guy told the kid, he's like, what were you all told out there on the street? Don't snitch. Don't stitch. Snitches get stitches. He's like, look around this room. You know why we're all in here? We're all in here because somebody snitched. Every single one of the people, every single one of the prisoners in there raised their hand and said, yep, somebody snitched. Yep, somebody snitched. That's a lesson learned. We can talk about don't snitch all we want, but this is something to keep in mind with your leftist organizing as well, if you're going to do varying degrees of direct action. Keep in mind, in addition to planning for what will happen if you get apprehended, if you get arrested, planning for what will happen if you are assaulted, if you are hurt, things like that. If you're really organizing, or if you're doing some black bloc tactics or things like that, you need to plan what happens if someone in your life rats you out. It's going to be a possibility. There will be somebody close to you that's going to take a deal, and they're going to spill the beans. Prison's fucking scary. I'm not going to sit here and say that it isn't. I'm not able to tell anybody that I've met to go do hard time for me. I can't tell somebody to do that. It's fucking inhumane. Prison in this country is inhumane. 22-4, by the way. 22-4. Can I get a 22-4 in chat? Longtime viewers know what the hell I'm talking about. I can't ask somebody to do a dime in prison for me. So I have to assume, depending on level of organizing that I'm doing, someone's going to snitch. Someone's going to flip. They have to. They're scared. It's bad enough in this society that we have shit to lose. We have families. We have jobs. We need material security. We're not wealthy on the left. We don't all have lawyers, bail funds. We don't all have people on retainer and teams of investigators to get us off of charges. We don't have that shit. When the law cracks down on us, it's going to crack down hard. They're going to throw the book at us, as they've done against leftist movements. It's 22/4. It's adjacent to 1312, Nathan King. Oh, I have people who don't know 22/4. So the United States holds 22% of the world's inmate population, despite being only 4% of the world population. I would say that's a pretty fucked ratio, if you ask me. I really got to get t-shirts made for that. 22/4. Don't forget. Virtualac, you knew this. Come on. Oh, did Lance leave? Yeah. Well, if you're gone, Lance, thanks for stopping by. $22.4. Yes, Radar, you got it. Virtualac showing off the fancy emojis. Yeah, I need to make better emojis. I am terrible at time management. We have this many in prison, and we are the land of the free. We sing it. We have the nerve to say it in our national anthem, that we're the land of the free. And we lock the most people in prison on the planet. By a wide margin. Our per capita of people in prison is stupidly high compared to other countries. We're... Inmates per capita. Guys, we're beating China. We're beating India. Countries with bigger populations than ours. That's insane. 380 million people live in the United States. And we have that many people incarcerated here. When we're incarcerating a higher percentage of our population than China, a place with a bit of a history of being very fast and loose with locking people in chains and cages. And there's 3 billion people in that country. $22.4. Yeah, on that land as well, Birchalac. Land back. Fuck yeah. Give that land back. Give back the stolen land. Honor the goddamn treaties. Ain't hard. Honor the treaties. Give that land back. Now, supposedly, from what I'm told, I would have to confirm this. I have some keyboard warriors in chat. I have some research Reggies in chat. Some research Reginas in chat. Some Google Gregs. Apparently, to my knowledge, part of Ohio is land that was sold by natives in at least some form of good faith treaty. To my knowledge. There is some part of Ohio that was actually a known and good faith treaty that was upheld with the natives, which is mind-blowing, along with the settlers. I can't confirm that because I can't research it. But, you know, a few times in school I heard some of the fun stories about Ohio, and obviously the state I live in is called Ohio, which, you know, that's not an anglicized name. So we literally have states with names that have no root whatsoever in the English language. Treaty of Greenville, maybe. I don't know. You tell me. Yep. Exception in the 13th Amendment. But, hey, oh my God, I left out that headline. I completely forgot. So, it's not the be-all, end-all. It's not the be-all, end-all. But Joe Biden did sign an executive order to dissolve contracts with federal private prison contracts. This is good news. Basically, over time, we're going to not renew contracts with these private prisons. Yes, I know. Biden has a shitload more he could be doing. I know. Hold his feet to the fire. But this is good news, and we can take the good news. Yeah, Tyranno Naughty, welcome to the party. Quite impressed with the Invasion Day protest turnout on Tuesday. Would you look at that? So, yeah, even by British standards, the colonization of Australia was pretty cringe. It was not legal at all. They didn't even do a colonization right. Yeah, they didn't. They basically kind of just rolled in there. Did they even... In Australia, did they even have, like... the blessing of the Queen or whatever? Or did they kind of just show up and send a bunch of prisoners there? No, I get that. Yeah, Australia was a penal colony. Thought to be a largely uninhabitable one. It's always funny when Europeans call a place uninhabitable when there's a bunch of people living there still. Are Europeans bad at taming the frontier? Are they bad at survival? Are they not able to slay the mammoth? Australia was a penal colony. They really? See, now I kind of want to look into the history of that. Australia has a wild history. I also have some friends that live in NZ, in New Zealand, and New Zealand's history is pretty out there, too. And it's geographical history, like the formation of the islands and such. And how much of the wildlife on the islands, for instance, are technically invasive species. Uninhabitable for whites. Indeed. Alright, let's see if we can hold this flag. If we can hold... Oh, shit. We're 3 captain flags. Let's fucking go. Alright, let's get you, motherfucker. Oh, god damn it. Can't fight me alone. Australia is uninhabitable. People live there. There were natives. Listen, we meme about Australia and its murderous monster animals that live there. Apparently the Aussies are super chill, right? Like, we see pictures of huntsman spiders and lose our fucking minds. I talked to somebody and they're like, oh, I see a cute little huntsman come out of the drain in my bathroom. And it's just like, what? You see this spider the size of a dinner plate? Come on. No thank you. Aussies are wild. I hear they can drink pretty good too. I wouldn't mind getting ripped in Australia. Not not like in Sydney or Perth. I want to go out to like rural Australia and get like country drunk with some rural Australians. Chase dingoes around, go hunting drop bears, cook some shrimp on the barbie. Okay. But that's the people. Tyranninati. As long as you don't pick up a meth habit, you should be fine in Florida. That's the people. The people in Florida are as wild as the animals in Aussie land. Mind you, Florida isn't actually that much of an anomaly. So here's the thing. Here's the truth. Why is Florida so weird in the headlines? The state of Florida has really lax laws regarding the release of police blotters and arrest information. Essentially, information on arrests in Florida is almost immediately public knowledge. As such, it's easy for people to mine posts and funny headlines from Florida about weird nonsense. Not because more weird nonsense happens there, but because we can just constantly get a stream of strange arrests that take place in Florida because their arrest blotters are almost, their police blotters are almost all public for arrests. Yeah, Florida's wild. Jacksonville's kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. Jacksonville's a little strange. North Florida is a little strange in general. So, Duval. So, when you hear about someone on bath salts eating the face off of another human being, there's a safe assumption that somewhere in your state, someone else has probably stripped down, gotten high on bath salts, and eaten somebody's face off. But it's okay. Your state doesn't really publicize it as much. That's the difference. Miami. Who's in Miami? Dade County. I used to play football with some dudes from Dade County. Dade County, Miami, and Dade County is a little rough. It's a rough neighborhood. It's there's a lot of poverty there. It's not cool, and they have a lot of issues with a lot of violence in lower income neighborhoods. I feel for the people there because the cost of living is so high, and yet ain't nothing pay shit in Miami, Florida. Fort Lauderdale is cool if you want to drink with a white that can't hold his liquor. Are you talking about yourself, Nathan King? The introduced Burmese pythons. Yeah, but Tyranninati, none of those things you just listed are venomous. That's the thing. Snapping turtles, pythons, gators. Okay, like, listen, here's the thing, right? I live in Ohio. You want to know how I know that if I don't go I know that if I don't go dicking around in the woods, right, I will not have any issues. Oh, we lost our studio light. Uh-oh. If I don't go dicking around in the woods, I'm not going to have a lot of problems with wildlife. but I reference you to the aforementioned story about just sitting on the toilet in the bathroom and seeing huntsman spiders crawl out of your drain. Or just a huntsman spider crawling on the wall of your house. Why are your spiders so fucking big? I hear they eat birds. Okay, here's the thing. I know that in many of our most scenic beaches, be it in Florida, Georgia, maybe even California, some of their beaches as well, as long as you avoid the known shark-infested areas, you can go for a swim, you can go for a wade through the shallows and be safe. You go wading in the shallows. In Australia, it's a goddamn horror show. Oh, wait, look, I just got weeping sores across my body from a man of war. Oh, well, guess I'm gonna be in the ER for a week. Oh, shit, what's that? It's a blue ring octopus? I guess I'm dead now. I guess I'm dead. I stepped on a 2-inch long blue ring octopus, and it had injected venom with its siphon, and I died 5 minutes later. Box jellies. That's worse. That's worse. I thought they had Man of Wars, too. I would be very afraid if I were to see one of those spiders. Is there one behind me? Okay, good. Turn the other backup light on here. Boop, boop. They might be. Box jellies. Apparently, box jellies can, like, infest seawater in a way you can't even see, since they basically start life in a polyp stage. So they can, like, just sort of spring up places. It's crazy. It's madness. Way to go, Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. Fort Lauderdale is very gay. You know where else is fairly gay? New Orleans, believe it or not. New Orleans is also the home of New Orleans Bounce, a largely trans and drag-dominated musical genre. Pioneered by the wonderful Miss Big Frida. I strongly recommend you give New Orleans Bounce a listen. Yes, way to go, New Orleans. I guess you could say West Hollywood, but they're kind of bougie in West Hollywood, and there's a lot of not-so-great stuff given the very high cost of living and the high amount of poverty in West Hollywood and in WeHo. Alright, I need to repair again. No, I'll queue up again. So, I actually lived in Southern California. If you're going to visit, great. Perfect place to be. LA is fun. There's lots of stuff to do. There's everything to do. Everything to do is there in LA. Also, Toronto Naughty, getting tiger snakes in their house? You just call the snake catcher. Wait, what? Snake catcher. That's a thing? Is there a real life Crocodile Dundee? Listen. No comment on the box jellies? Or on the blue ring octopus, by the way? The octopus that can just end you before you even see it? Listen. Your country killed Steve Irwin. A stingray killed Steve Irwin. Oh, Jesus. Well, listen, if you're surviving in New York City, then hell, maybe you'll be fine in LA. You know how to grind if you're surviving in New York City. New York City might be the only place slightly pricier than Southern California. But keep in mind, pound for pound, the most expensive county in the United States is in Southern California. That's Orange County, by the way. Oh, and stonefish. Yeah. Raymond Hoser catching our snake. Jesus Christ. Pest control is normal. I'm not surprised to have a snake wrangler. Yeah, but like... Okay, yeah, pest control is a thing. In Ohio, they're usually coming out to get, like, squirrels out of your attic. Because squirrels are terrible creatures. Or raccoons out of your dumpster. Or roadkill out of your asphalt. But you shouldn't just casually say, oh, hey, look at that. There's a venomous snake in my house. Call the snake guy. Make sure you tip him. See if he wants some leftover, some extra cookies. I baked cookies. The snake guy probably would love some chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, no, the snake guy. The snake wrangler. What is this nonsense? Oh, Jesus. Wasted my ult. Good God. Nope. Not fucking with that. Sork. Oh, yay. Team abandoned the flag. There we go. Dead. Tip your snake professional. Yes. Tip your snake professional. Sorry to hear that. What up, shut up about your Mardi Gras trip. You guys probably missed out on some fun. Yeah, Will the Warlord. Go ahead and Google a huntsman spider while you're at it. Or, yeah, Google a huntsman while you're at it, too. You won't be able to sleep. You'd just be like, oh, hello thing that I see when I close my eyes now. Listen. The United States doesn't have a lot of deadly fauna. Our deadliest fauna is like fucking cows. Tip your snake professional. They're heavily unionized. I bet they are, and they do keep every snake. I actually am inclined to believe that. I'm assuming they catch and release, right? They probably set them loose in the bush. Do you think they go on a walkabout to go free the snakes somewhere safe and away from human settlements? Are walkabouts a thing? I would love to go on a walkabout. They say it's dangerous, though. I mean, I don't want to get carried off by a dingo. Yeah, they just release them back to the wild. That's what I figured. They do that out here with the varmints. Well, the ones we don't shoot, because this is America, and we shoot things a lot. Listen, I don't really like cruelty to animals. Matter of fact, I'd argue the Satanists are the most based because they actually they actively advocate against killing any animal that you're not going to eat. But I have to tell you, fuck squirrels. Seriously, they get into attics and they chew your house apart. They chase children and bite them on the face. Don't fuck with squirrels. Squirrels are terrible. Yeah, you know, methane is bad for the climate, and yes, the cows are probably killing the planet. Oh, sorry to hear that about your dad. Yeah, America's fauna is not that deadly. We probably die more to cows than snakes or spiders or any such nonsense. Or, you know, active shooters. If we're being honest. So, in the Army Field Guide for North America, in the United States, you have to recognize 4 venomous snakes. That's it. 4 breeds of venomous snake. And 2 venomous spiders. Right? That's it. Only 2. And those venomous spiders probably won't kill you if you get to, like, a hospital within a few hours. You'll probably survive. We have anti-venom. Soup Poop. Hey, what's up, Soup Poop? Hey, everybody, take a minute to go to see Soup_Poo. on Twitch. Great leftist news presenter. Please go slide them a follow. Please do that. Do it now. You can middle click, open a new tab, and go slide a follow to Soup Poo. But yeah, we do have a lot of Republicans. They're very deadly. We have entirely too many Republicans. We need to call the Republican catcher. Make sure to tip your Republican catcher. So, you know, scorpions, I don't like the look of scorpions, Dan Uko, but for what it's worth, they're not very deadly. Like, almost all scorpions in North America are little more than a bee sting level of sting. You have a top 10 venomous snakes. That's terrifying. I'm gonna die. Yeah. You have... So here's the problem, right? You probably wonder, Tyranninati, why Americans think of Australia as like just this terrifying hellscape. Documentaries. It's the documentaries we had. David Attenborough or whatever, and old National Geographic, Nat Geo. 4Cap. Woo. Those documentaries. They would open with, and the blue ring octopus has so much venom it could kill a man in 1 minute. They always describe a venomous creature with how quickly it could kill a man. The tiger snake has venom that could kill a man in 5 minutes. The black adder has venom that could kill a man. You know, they always talk about the scariest thing about the animal that they're covering in the documentary to make it sell, to make it sexy, to make it mysterious and terrifying. The harvestman spider is so large and strong it builds a web and catches birds. You know what birds do here in the US? They eat the spiders. Over there, your spiders eat the birds. And rats. Spiders eating rats. There's supposed to be a bestial hierarchy. There's a bestial hierarchy. Furry, large, four-legged creatures are supposed to win in the fight. You don't stop and see culture, intelligence, friendship, and cooperation. Who's cooperating with a huntsman spider? Someone say fur. No one said furry, Birchalac. Put your fursuit away. You know, I heard that a lot of rattlesnakes, now their rattle has been seen as more of a thing that gives them away. So they are actually evolving out of their rattles. Listen. No, that's fine. Ants and bees are part of the same family. They are. And there's some weird cousins in there. You really want to see something unsettling. There's a spider out there that looks like an ant. It looks uncannily like an ant. Two of its legs on either side are really close together to make it look like it has only 6 legs. Because apparently that's how things work in the animal kingdom. When they see something, they're like, oh, yep, you've got enough legs. But spiders actually have 8 legs. So it sort of tucks them behind the first set to make it look like it only has 6. And it looks like an ant. You know, it's just... North Korea has dragon dogs. What the fuck? You know what the scariest thing we have in the United States is? I was wrong. Spiders, yeah, brown recluse bite is no fun. Black widow bite is no fun. Rattlesnake bites, copperheads, coral snakes, and I'm forgetting one. Diamondbacks. Those aren't fun. You know what's not? You know what's terrifying? If you ever... Cottonmouth. There you go. That's the 4th one. Thank you, Birchlack. if you ever go to the southwestern United States, you know what? We're gonna do a little lesson here. Since I'll probably be hopping off here soon. We're gonna do a little lesson. All right. So we're going to pull up something fun. The invertebrates of the carnivorous... Nah. Africanized bees aren't a huge issue yet. And did you see all the stir they made up about the killer hornets, the Japanese hornets? Those things are awesome. They're like 3 inches long, but no. Bren R., you're not late. Basically, right now we're just chatting. We're playing ESO, but I'm taking a break because I wanted to show something here. Bren R., we've just been vibing on the news and in general just chatting. So let me go ahead and change that while we're at it. Change that. Center that. Put that there. Alright, so I haven't heard anybody call it out yet. Scariest thing in North America. Another knife trick. Yeah, the bees are all nicotinated. It's wild. Cottonmouths are water moccasins. Are they? Birchalac, is that true? Cottonmouths are water moccasins. Who? Hey, somebody redeemed a knife trick. Birchalac, how much are you chatting to get all these points? Alright, hold on. And it's the same snake. I do like snakes, actually. I think snakes are cool. I actually don't know any tricks with this one. This one's just a really fun folder. Oh, Odious! Hey, welcome to the party. How long have you been watching to build up all those points? Raccoons are pretty bad. There are some fat-ass, healthy-ass raccoons out here. You know? So, the 1%. Was it the 1%? What about the 1%? Bears. We have bears in the United States. Bears kill very few people. There are bear attacks in California a lot of late, but even then bear deaths are on par with shark deaths. But I'm not even necessarily talking about deaths. I'm talking about what's scary. What's really scary. Thick-ass raccoons. I'm talking about... Okay. Let's see here. Let's find a video. Here it is. Found something. Let's go to my transition mode here. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to turn that down a little bit so I'm not blowing your ears out. See, look at this. See these things. Peccaries or javelinas. These things are terrifying. These things will mess your day up. Yeah. These things are nasty if you live in the southwest United States. Well, they are feral hogs. They're just a different variant of feral hogs. Did you miss the part where he said that they come in groups of 50, Odious? You could take on 50 of them? Also, they said you smell them before you see them. They eat cacti. They eat cacti. Well, prickly pears. Yeah. With these hands. I got to get better with my knife tricks. I also got to grease this thing. I used to be a lot better with it. But, also the way my camera sits, you can barely see it. So I'd have to try and do it with my left without Well, I think boar are pretty cute, but they're terrifying. I mean, if we're being honest. Boar are pretty scary. Boar are pretty terrifying. Wait, hold on. We're not going to show this if it shows the guy shooting this boar. Hold on. I mean, I don't care about watching a dude get owned by a boar, but I'm not going to show him killing an animal. Alright, what are we doing here? Right, so boar are terrifying. They get 3 feet tall, weigh, hundreds of pounds. Some more news. Yeah. We know. We've seen Cody Shody. So, cute can still be dangerous. How are koalas dangerous? Because, like, if they give you... are koalas dangerous? Because if they give you a little bite, like, boom, you have chlamydia. Don't they carry STDs? I thought I heard that, like, koalas can literally give you... Listen. Geese aren't scary. Geese are dumb birds. We got birds handled. But no, Tyranninati down there in the oceanic countries, they're the ones with the fucking cassowaries. They got the scary-ass birds. Apparently there was some asshole swan on the River Thames for like years that would upend boats. And nobody could do anything about it because all the swans in the UK are the property of the Queen. Do you not like... Are we against koalas? Are they dumb? Are they assholes? Is that the problem? They're hella lazy. I can imagine. I mean, that's the thing. They are kind of dumb. Rabies, you can survive now, Brennar. You can survive rabies. Take it from a little bit of experience, though. You don't want to tangle with rabies. Because to this day, rabies still requires a big fucking hypodermic needle shot in your stomach. That doesn't sound fun. Does that sound fun to you? That doesn't sound fun. The only mammals without wrinkles in their brains. Wait, koalas just quite literally have smooth brains? Huh. At least it's not the 17-shot regimen it used to be. I know there's a number of shots. I don't know if it's quite like 17 anymore. That's I don't think it's 17 anymore. It's nasty. It's I feel like, yeah, they eat eucalyptus, which isn't eucalyptus oil like mad toxic? Marsupial lions. Is this different than the thylacine? Are we talking about thylacines? Full-blown rabies. Is there different levels of rabies? Mega rabies. What up, shit? Yeah, thylacines are different. Who has UFOs? Are you in New Mexico? Yeah, I mean, I hear that eucalyptus is toxic, but aren't they the only ones that can, like, ingest raw eucalyptus? Like, won't that kill a human if they eat raw eucalyptus leaves? Like, I feel like I've heard that. Will kill a man in 5 minutes. Eating a raw eucalyptus leaf will cause a man to shit himself to death in 2 minutes. It travels up your nervous system. Jesus. Marsupial lions. I thought I had heard that koalas carry STDs that can be transmitted to humans. What, eating eucalyptus is like peeing on heroin? Listen, I used to use shaving products, wonderful natural shaving products that had some glorious eucalyptol scent in them, and it was awesome. I love the smell of it. It's very strong. It smells like camphor. I'm old school though. Fucking die already, Jesus Christ. I'm not doing well. Yeah, you can get chlamydia from a koala. That's pretty fucked. So, here's the question for you all. I have 7 characters, Merc. Oh, and I have 3,300 hours played. So, do you think in Biden's administration we'll see a bill for Puerto Rico statehood? Guys, I'm a level with you, guys, gals, and pals. We're not going to see a bill for Puerto Rican independence. Not in the next 4 years. That's not going to happen. I would like to see it. It's not going to happen. Do you think we would see someone introduce a good faith effort for Puerto Rican statehood within this current administration? Harriet on the 20, it's a bit performative, but I don't hate representation, so it's not bad. It's just, it accomplishes little. I don't have high hopes either. Seeing Puerto Rican statehood on the ballot or on an active bill going through Congress, it would solve a lot of the problems. I mean, we kind of just left a lot of people to die after a flood, if I'm not mistaken, and that was pretty fucked. And statehood, you know, actually having statehood would at least curb some of that. And then that's the thing. Puerto Rico, their head of state is the President of the United States. But again, they don't have statehood. For that matter, the Marshall Islands don't have statehood. Saipan and Tinian. I actually work with a guy that lived on Tinian for a while. America will end. Well, I hold out hope. Listen, a lot of people have actually been pushing for it. Apparently, Lin-Manuel Miranda has been a pretty vocal advocate for Puerto Rican statehood. It'll get there. States leaving the Union. It won't be California, I can tell you that. Listen, there's been... So, here's what my dad used to tell me about politicians. And this is why, as soon as I saw what was starting to happen while I was watching the news on the 6th, I knew that... I'm like, oh, okay. These people are out of their minds, and shit's gonna get ugly. And the reason I say that is because my dad used to tell me, politicians are the idiot sons of the rich. That's what a politician is, right? Okay, but do you know what those idiot sons of the rich want? Do you know what those idiot sons of the rich crave and will fight tooth and nail to protect? Status quo. They will fight tooth and nail to protect status quo. And so, anything that threatens the status quo, even a far-right radicalized segment of their party, is a threat to them. And they're not going to tolerate that. So, California leaving the Union or splitting up. Maybe it would split up. That could be a possibility. Maybe. And I'll get to that in a second. But California leaving the Union? Unlikely. Unlikely. Yes, I get it. Learn to Swim. Great song. So, you know, I have a bad habit of singing to myself a lot. I do it a lot, and I have to remember I can't do that because it's copyrighted music, and apparently they can fucking strike you even if you're just singing a song to yourself while you're playing a video game. It's crazy. I almost started singing Anima by Tool. Okay. Soup just wrecked you with facts and logic. Yeah. What would be the likely state? What do you mean? Okay, so California. California. You know, it's funny. Honestly, New Vegas was a really good, a really good theoretical alt future past of California. But if the California plans that have been introduced basically split up Southern California, Northern California, SoCal, NorCal, Silicon Valley, right? So Silicon Valley is the only one I would expect to see actually make an effort to leave the Union, just because it's at a certain point going to be full of technocrats, and I could see them basically just get a bunch of people in the room who are all fucking Elon Musk ass, let's build a Mars colony motherfuckers who want to build their very white, very rich utopia in Ancapistan. Those people I could see wanting to leave the Union. You know, Silicon Valley, so they can make their little... Yeah, Jefferson. There you go. The state of Jefferson. There's the 5 Californias plan from a little bit ago. It never gains any steam. First of all, the federal government would not be a willing party to this. I remind everybody, in this country, the last time people seceded, because they wanted to do things their own way, we fought a long, bloody war. It was ugly. So, that would be another sort of play stupid games, win stupid prizes moment. That would be a fuck around and find out moment. And as large as California's contribution to armed forces and the National Guard is, they don't, I think, have the military to pull off that kind of coup. What up, shut up? There should be somebody watching Elon Musk at all times. Just waiting to see what fucking thing he's going to do next. It is late, y'all. Listen. It's been a fun stream, everybody. It really has. I can't thank you all enough for joining me tonight. We had some fun talking about politics and the news, which is not something I do too often. Those of you who are waiting for my next scripted video, keep waiting. It'll be coming. Don't bug me. But seriously, thanks for coming out, everybody. Let's find someone to raid. Yeah? Jesus, of course, right now I have my peak viewers. Did I get raided? Hold on, don't leave. We're gonna raid somebody. Who's streaming? Boop. Soup raided me. Oh, Soup brought the raid. Oh, sorry, Soup. I didn't, Do you think you're going to be in the Kia Soul? Who is on? Is nobody on? What in the hell? That's quite all right. Soup, I should have gave you shout outs when you were on. That's my bad. That's my B. Hey, all right. Is Trekkie live? I think we'll raid Trekkie. Yeah. Why is it not letting me? Do the thing. Do the thing. Shut up. Okay, we are. Wait, is U-Discourse on? We're gonna raid Universal Discourse, everybody. All right. I'm not raiding Dylan Burns. We're gonna raid Universal Discourse, everybody. Listen, Indigenous chat, it's awesome. Everybody, thank you for coming out to the stream tonight. All right, let's do it. Ready up, gamers. Ready up. I know there's like 24 of you watching on Twitch right now. A few of you dropped. All right. Let's go.